Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. In this video, we're going to talk about how LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are frauds. They're fraudulent. Their record is fraudulent, guys. They are a fraudulent team. Now, they're a good team in a weak era of NBA, but they're fraudulent. They're not as great as people are pumping them up. They're a fraudulent team. Their record is not as great as you guys think it is. And I'm going to highlight in this video and show you guys why they're frauds. And we know that they're fraudulent. But again, a lot of hype now because they've won, 7, 8 games in a row, whatever it is. Great for the Lakers, man. Once again, the only team in the NBA with 2 top 10 players on their roster. That's the Lakers, guys. So once again, the Lakers are a good team in a weak era of NBA. But I've told you there are no great teams in this league. There are some good teams. But the Lakers, they're fraudulent, guys. And we're going to talk about in this video. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, you know I am truly, truly humbled. Shout out to everybody in the membership. Like I said, all the true basketball fans that continue to send me messages, emails. You guys liking my videos, subscribing, sharing this stuff. Like I said, you guys share your stories with me, man. The things you guys say in the comments, I really appreciate all the guys. Like I said, it's truly humbling, man. The real recognize real, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, I want to talk about how LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, their record is fraudulent, guys, and the Lakers overall are not as great as everyone's pumping them up to be right now. Now everyone's on the Lakers bandwagon. Here come all the LeBron James fans, right? They're out there with the saran wrap, you know what I'm saying? Like my man Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx in that movie Booty Call. I posted that screenshot of these two guys, and I told you that's LeBron James fans waiting for this clown to come home. And that's how these guys are. They're never around, right? They're never around last year. They were never around the year before that. They were never around when LeBron James told us to keep that same energy. You could never find a LeBron James fans back in 2022. Right? You couldn't find him then, could you guys? No, you couldn't find him in 2021 when LeBron James was walking off the court like 3 minutes ago in the Phoenix Suns series, right? At defending champs, losing in the first round, right? They were never around for all of these seasons when the Los Angeles Lakers are fighting for a play-in spot every year, guys, except for the bubble. That's the only year that they were not fighting for a play-in spot since LeBron James been in LA, guys. 7 seasons in LA, one time they weren't fighting for a play-in, guys. A bubble season. The LeBron James fans are never around for this stuff, though, right? Never around when LeBron James says he's going to plan on playing 82 games, doesn't play the 82 games. They're never around for that stuff, right? They're never around when we watch LeBron James get fined for flopping. They're never around when we see the video footage of LeBron James flopping up and down the court, right? You see LeBron James go to the hole. No one touches this man. And he's doing this. And you've seen the video from my man AOH, right? The video footage is out there. He's been exposed. LeBron James fans are never around for that. They want to pump up his stats, never want to talk about the turnovers for LeBron James, right? The man's 4th in the NBA in turnovers at 4 per game, but LeBron James fans never want to talk about those stats. They only want to talk about the stats that they want to talk about, right? They don't want to talk about his man can't rebound worth a damn. No offensive rebounds for LeBron James. Once again, no defense being played by LeBron James. They never want to talk about any of these things. All they want to do is read off some bogus stats, even though LeBron James is negative, whatever he is, for I think he's like negative 30 for the season. Whatever, he's negative for the season, but they want to talk about LeBron James leading the Lakers, LeBron James and MVP candidates. It's nonsense, guys. These are LeBron James fans. So all of a sudden, everyone's pumping the Lakers up. The Lakers are the greatest team. They're the best team, blah, 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 blah. And I told you guys, the Lakers should be winning games. They're the only team in the NBA with 2 top 10 players on their team. According to ESPN, LeBron James ranked number 7. I believe Luka Doncic was ranked 2nd or 3rd. So the only team in the NBA with 2 top 10 players on their roster this season, and we're supposed to be celebrating them for winning games. And once again, guys, if you look at their record and you dig into the record and you've been watching them this season, we all know that they've had a favorable schedule. But I've told you guys, they have not beat anybody. Most of their wins have come against the weaker teams, guys. They've stacked up a lot of wins at home, right? At home games and against a lot of weak teams, guys. And that's the facts, guys. Now let's go through this now. Let's think about this now. The Lakers are the 2nd seed right now, guys. And I can't remember how many wins they have. They might have just got their 40th win last night. I can't remember. But you guys remember, there was this thing that I remember, like a standard that people used to talk about back in the day, where for teams, I used to hear coaches, I remember hearing Phil Jackson say this, the 40-20 rule. There was a 40-20 rule. And what it stated was that a great team, to be considered like a really good team or a really legit contender, you had to hit 40 wins before you hit 20 losses. That's the 40-20 rule. You make 40 wins before you hit 20 losses. And I only believe a couple of teams have made that mark this season. I believe maybe the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. They might be the only 3 teams this year, guys, that hit 40 wins before they made 20 losses. I don't even think some of them teams have 20 losses yet. But the Lakers did not hit 20 or 40 wins before they hit 20 losses. They did not, guys. And a lot of other teams have not done that. Once again, this is just an old rule that I remember hearing coaches talk about. If you really wanted to be considered a legit contender, really one of the great teams in the league, then you really wanted to hit 40 wins before you hit 20 losses. Maybe you guys remember coaches saying this. So in that regard, the Lakers are not a great team by that metric. They're not. And like I said, there's maybe only 3 teams that actually qualify in that for that 40-20 rule. Once again, the NBA is weak. Well, I've told you guys at the beginning of the season, I said this. I noticed that after the first, couple of weeks of the season, I told you guys, the NBA is taking a giant step backwards. I said, especially the Western Conference. The Western Conference was terrible this season compared to what it was the last couple of years before that. They've taken a giant step backwards, guys. Like, the only really good team is OKC. There really are no other really good teams. The Lakers are a quality team. The Nuggets might be a quality team. Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies are a quality team, or the Minnesota Timberwolves are a quality team. The Houston Rockets might be a quality team, but are they really good teams? No. So let's think about this, guys. I'm going to read off the record for the Lakers against some of the best teams in the league, right? So I tried to write down some of the teams I think are the top, 10 teams, let's say, in the league, or somewhere around there, and I'm going to read off the record of the Lakers versus those teams, guys. All right, so I wrote down Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Detroit. Those were like the top teams in the Eastern Conference, if I remember correctly when I looked briefly. Then I had OKC, Denver, Memphis, Houston, Dallas. And I wrote down like Minnesota, Phoenix, Orlando, Atlanta, like some of these other teams. And then I'm going to highlight to you the teams that the Lakers have got most of their wins from. And highlight that the Los Angeles Lakers, these guys are frauds, man. LeBron James a fraud, man. And we all know they've been getting help from the referees. So not only did they play a favorable schedule up until this point, right? Not only are they the only team in the league with 2 top 10 players on their roster, they also have a lot of referee help. Free throws, personal fouls, all these kinds of things we know is favoring the Lakers. This is the 3rd or 4th season in a row now that we've seen the Lakers get, a steady help from the referees. Remember, they were a plus 1,000. It was like 1,050 over the last 2 seasons before this year, guys. At the free throw line, a plus 1,050. Insane. But they're still only making the play-in. Once again, exposing LeBron James' fraudulent career and his impact that he has on the team is not there. It's irrelevant. Once again, he's being carried out there by guys like Anthony Davis, or he was being carried by guys like Anthony Davis in the first 30 games of the season, 35 games of the season, whatever it was. So let's see here. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Lakers are 0-2 versus Cleveland. 1-0 versus Boston. Great. 2-0 versus the Knicks. They just beat the Knicks again last night, so they're 2-0 versus the Knicks. Once again, I told you the Knicks to me are not a real legit team. They're fraud. Karl Anthony Towns a fraud. We know that. Milwaukee, they've never played the Milwaukee Bucks this season. You guys realize that? The Lakers never played the Milwaukee Bucks this season, guys. Haven't played the Milwaukee Bucks once. Why is that, guys? Once again, they don't want to put LeBron James against Giannis. They don't want him to play against Giannis in the beginning of the season when Giannis is nice and healthy and, strong in the beginning of the season, right? They never played the Bucks, not even once this season. Insane. But they played some of these other weak teams a bunch of times. But anyway, 0-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks. 0-2 versus Detroit, who's an up-and-coming team this year. Right? The Detroit Pistons are one of those dark horses. They're like the Houston Rockets of the Eastern Conference to me. The Detroit Pistons, because they've had some young talent and they've been, building over the last couple of years. But they were terrible the last couple of years. And now they've been a pretty decent team this year. Not a great team or a really good team. They're a good team. They're a quality team this year. But they're 0-2. The Lakers are 0-2 versus Detroit. They played the OKC Thunder one time, 0-1 versus OKC. They played OKC once, guys. One time they played OKC. One time. They played the Charlotte Hornets more than they played OKC so far this year, guys. Insane. So, 0-1 versus OKC. Denver, 1-1. 500 against Denver. Okay, we get it. Good for them. Memphis, they're 2-1 versus Memphis. If I remember, 2 of those games of the 3, John Morant was not there for. Once again, John Morant's never there. We get it. But they're 2-1 versus Memphis. Great. 0-1 versus Houston Rockets. They played the Houston Rockets only once so far this season? Only once. So you never played Milwaukee. You only played OKC once. You only played Houston Rockets once. What? I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense to me, man. 1-1 versus Dallas. So they're 500 versus Dallas. Great. Once again, not impressive. 1-1. And if we extrapolate a little bit more, some more teams, Minnesota, they're 2-2 versus Minnesota, 500. Great for them. They're 1-2 versus Phoenix. They're 1-2 versus the Phoenix Suns, who are like the 12th seed or 11th seed. They're a joke. Kevin Durant's a joke this season. But they're 1-2 versus the Phoenix Suns. Absolutely insane. And remember, that one win that they got came at the beginning of the season where the Lakers were plus 28, guys, the free throw line. Plus 28 at the free throw line in that one win versus Phoenix, guys. Remember, like the third game of the season or whatever it was. So they're 1-2. 0-1 versus Orlando. 0-1 versus Orlando, who's a pretty decent team. You know, I think Banchero came back because they were looking really good. Remember, last year I predicted that they were going to make the playoffs last year. I was on the money with this stuff, and I said they're one of the up-and-coming teams. And this year they were looking good, and then this guy got hurt, but he's back now. But they're 0-1 versus Orlando. They're 1-1 versus Atlanta. So if you think about that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams are the top teams. Let's say it's the top half of the league, essentially, the teams I wrote down here. The Lakers versus all those teams, guys, are 10-13. 10-13 versus all those teams I mentioned. And they never even played Milwaukee. So they're 10-13 against all those teams, which are the good teams in the league, the quality teams in the league. 10-13, guys. Not impressed at all, man. 10-13. Now let's think about the rest of the wins that they've gotten. Because like I said, what, they have 39 wins here or whatever it is. So 10 of their 39 wins, or let's say they have 40 wins. I'm not sure. I could be off, but let's say they got 40 wins. 10 of their wins came against the top teams. 10 of those 40 wins came against the top teams, guys. Now, let's look at some of the bottom teams. Some of the bottom teams that they've beaten here. I put down Washington, Utah, Toronto, Sacramento, New Orleans, Golden State, Charlotte Hornets, the LA Clippers. Like, to me, these are some of the weak teams. Now, when we think about teams like the Golden State Warriors, for example, who they've beaten 3 times, they're 3-0 versus Golden State Warriors, which is really good for them. But remember, the Golden State Warriors, they haven't played the Golden State Warriors since they got Jimmy Butler. Haven't played the Golden State Warriors since they got Jimmy Butler, when they've been actually playing a lot better. Not saying they're playing better because of Jimmy Butler, but they've been playing a lot better basketball over the last, week or so, 10 games or so. The Warriors have been looking really good. Steph Curry's been going on a tear. I think he just dropped 40 points last night. He dropped like 50-something points a couple of nights ago. So once again, they're 3-0 versus Golden State Warriors when the Warriors were not playing their good basketball. They had a lot of injuries during that part of the season. Like I said, they did not have Jimmy Butler and the new look team they have now. But they're 3-0 versus Golden State Warriors. 2-0 versus the Washington Wizards. 3-1 versus the Utah Jazz. 2-0 versus the Toronto Raptors. 4-0 versus the Sacramento Kings. And if you remember, when they beat they played the Sacramento Kings like 4 times in like 3 weeks, it seemed like, or 4 times like the first month and a half of the season. And remember, the Sacramento Kings were like in last place. They had to fire their coach. They were in turmoil. They were all jacked up when the Lakers were playing the Sacramento Kings. And all of a sudden, they made a change. Then they decided to play when Mike Brown wasn't there. They won some games, whatever. But these are the teams. New Orleans Pelicans, they're 2-0 versus New Orleans Pelicans. 3-1 versus the Clippers. The lowly Clippers. Once again, when Norman Powell, I believe, missed 1 or 2 of those games. James Harden is the best player in that team. Kawhi Leonard was only there, I think, for like 2 of those 4 games. But James Harden's Clippers, not impressed. The Clippers, once again, what have they done? Nothing, guys. Nothing. So look at that. They're 17-2 versus those teams, guys. 17-2. Washington, Utah, Toronto, Sacramento, New Orleans, LA, Golden State. 17-2 versus those teams, the bottom teams, guys. The bottom teams. Not impressed with those wins. If we put in the Charlotte Hornets in that list, they're 2-0 versus Charlotte Hornets. That gives them 19 wins. Then if we talk about the Portland Trailblazers, who are another crap team, I believe they were 3-0 versus the Trailblazers, I believe. So that would put them at 22 wins. 22, I believe, in 2 versus all the bottom teams. So think about that. They're 10-13 versus the quality teams, let's say the top 14, 15 teams in the NBA record-wise. They're 10-13 versus those teams, but they're 22-2 versus the crap teams. So if we add that together, once again, that puts them at 32-15 between just those teams. Obviously, I'm missing some teams here that they played and beaten, but I'm talking about like the Indiana Pacers. I don't know what their record is versus Pacers. But like I said, I mentioned a lot of these teams. This is what? 3, 4, 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 of the teams, of the 30 teams in the NBA. Like I said, in the top teams, they were 10-13. The bottom teams, they were 22-2, guys, against the crap teams in the NBA. So, like I said, and like this highlights, the LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers record, right, where they are in the number 2 seed, all the hype that they're getting, it's fraudulent, guys. They haven't really beaten really good teams consistently all season long. Look at their road record. I believe they're 14-13 or 14-12 on the road. They might be like 15-14 on the road, right? They're basically 500 on the road, guys. That's not great. Once again, they're going to have to beat somebody on the road here. They're not going to have the best record throughout the playoffs. So they're going to have to go on the road and beat an OKC. They have to go on the road. Even if they made it to the finals, they're going to have to go on the road against one of those Eastern Conference teams. That's just the facts, guys. And once again, I do not believe the Lakers are a really good team. They're a good team because of the players, because they have LeBron James and Luka Doncic on the same team. But I do not believe that they're a legit quality team. Once again, I do not believe they're a consistently a good defensive team, because LeBron James is not consistently playing defense like that. Luka Doncic doesn't consistently play defense. Austin Reeves. Once again, the Lakers are being helped by the schedule. They're being helped by the referees to be where they are. But when the playoffs come and they got to beat a team 4 out of 7 games and teams are game planning for you, this is when LeBron James gets exposed. His teams get exposed because they're not consistent. So, yes, they might win a couple of games. They might win 1 or 2 games in a 7-game series against a Denver Nuggets or an OKC or, some of these other teams. But are they going to beat them 4 times out of 7 games, guys? You have to be consistent to do that. And once again, they have to win on the road against some of these teams. And I'm telling you guys right now, the Lakers are fraudulent. LeBron James is a fraud. He folds up a lot of times in the postseason, and they blame his teammates. Once again, Luka Doncic goes down, season's over for them, guys. LeBron James ain't leading them a damn place. Anthony Davis carried LeBron James the first 30, 35, 40 games this season, and now Luka Doncic has to carry LeBron James, for the rest of the season and lead the Lakers. And like I said, guys, I'm not impressed when you're beating teams like Toronto, Washington. Like I said, look, they're 17-2 against Washington, Utah, Toronto, Sacramento, New Orleans, the Clippers, and Golden State, guys. Not impressive at all. But then you look at their record. Like I said, look at their record against some of the top teams: Cleveland, OKC, Denver, Memphis, Detroit, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Orlando, Atlanta, Minnesota. They're 500 at best, and at worst, they haven't even beat some of these teams. And they still haven't played the Milwaukee Bucks. How you not played the Milwaukee Bucks once yet? But they played the Charlotte Hornets twice. I don't get it, man. It's crazy, man. They'll play all these other teams a bunch of times, but they played Toronto twice. They ain't played Milwaukee not even once, guys. Not once. You guys know the deal, man. These are facts. The Lakers are frauds, man. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.